So like I was saying, yeah, I just feel like, it's like one of the things about the holidays that is really hard is you are generally around people more. And that's one of the reasons, right? And people tend to ask, like, when are you gonna have kids? Or like they are more interested in that type of conversation because I guess like that somehow along the years has been part of small talk. But anyway, hey, Eric's home now, so he can go get Poe. But I don't know how it'll be this year because like a lot of us are not doing as much with family and friends. So let me know what you guys are doing this year. So Larissa's giving some perspective on that. Can you run grab Poe? I'm live. Eric wants to say hi, guys. You always have good advice. We're talking about infertility and like what it's like during the holidays. Like how to cope with like, because you also, people do pregnancy announcements like crazy around Christmas time. Like what are some tips you have for people that might be like going through IVF or just saving up for treatment or just, not doing anything right now or just, stuck feeling hopeless in a way or, I feel like Christmas too, it marks like another year. I feel like when we were in the like really stuck in the rut, we were like every time Christmas came around, I felt like it was another year that marked like us not having a kid. And we would be like, maybe next year for Christmas we'll have a baby, So anyway.
I guess I'm just more outgoing probably.
I realize they probably can't hear you because I have my here, you put them in.
How do I know?
Oh, they can hear you. They can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying I'm probably more outgoing than most people, and although things like this can definitely weigh down and be depressing, as with most trials, if you want to call this a trial, I think just having a schedule and a routine. We've talked about this before. I'm not one to do the play the victim mentality or have the victim aspect. So I just think going out and serving others and doing things for other people will always help you feel better. That's usually the prescription for feeling down on yourself. And just know some of these things are out of your reach. They're out of your
reach, but control.
They're out of your control. You can always, there's things that you can try to, you can go to the doctors and do different tests, and it's going to take a long time. But I would just suggest service during the holidays.
That's good. I didn't even have that on my list, so
Goodbye.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. Love you. Okay, so hopefully you guys can hear me. Hear me? I hope you guys can hear me. I'm like worried that you didn't even hear anything he just said. Okay, we're just gonna go with it. Okay, great. Erin says she can hear me. So yeah, it's I do love that advice. Generally, that's great advice for when you're in a tough time in your life. At any point, you can just go out and serve somebody, and it really does get your mind off of that. And it helps you kind of to change your perspective and see the bigger picture that it's not just about you. Other people are going through tough times too, and may need support, something that you can offer them. It's not to say you shouldn't acknowledge, like how you're feeling and, make sure you're taking care of yourself that way, but it does help to get your mind off things. So if you guys have any tips, I guess, then like of how, well, first of all, I want to know how you guys, like, are you celebrating Christmas or like what holiday are you celebrating? And if you're celebrating it with family and friends? Like, are you going to have like a party? I know like most people probably aren't having like big parties, but are you going to see people that maybe you're a little like, are you going to any parties that you're a little bit like, I'm not sure about this? Okay, so my sister, I have thought about this a lot. She says being super fertile, I try to be super sensitive towards those who are struggling with infertility, but sometimes it's difficult to know exactly how to support you guys. Yeah, so I've shared this experience before. Like I've talked about how my sister, she's younger than me, and she had 2 kids before I got pregnant with Ray, and it was really, really hard. And I knew she was trying to be sensitive, and I really was respectful of that. I appreciated that, I should say. However, I feel like it's so hard to navigate it as like on the other end, I think too, as well. Like they don't want to say something that would hurt you or make it harder. And some people don't want to talk about it. And sometimes you do want to talk about it. Everyone's different. And sometimes I don't want to talk about it. And sometimes I do, like depending on my mood. Most of the time I do like talking about it, hence why I started a YouTube channel. But that was really helpful for me. But like it's hard to bring it up if you don't think that somebody that person wants to talk about it. So anyway, so I wanted to just mention a few other little tips that I felt like helped me when I was really, I would say a couple years ago before I got pregnant was one of the hardest Christmases ever. However, now as we like prep to do another frozen embryo transfer, another round, I'm starting to feel those feelings come back up again as I see pregnancy announcements. So I would just say the number one tip is like just avoid social media if you can. Like you should be able to, but like on the days that you might feel more triggered, or if you're just feeling like maybe that's not a great day to be on social based off of how you're feeling, I would probably stay away from it because you're going to see a ton of pregnancy announcements over Christmas. That's just how it is. So many people wait until Christmas to announce their pregnancy. And yeah, a lot of people are having babies, it feels like this month. Like maybe even just like unfollow people, to be honest. A couple of years ago, I remember it's kind of sad because I went through and unfollowed so many people from Instagram. Basically, if they had a kid, I unfollowed them. Like if they weren't, or if they hadn't been like through infertility struggles, because it's just too hard for me. And then as I started to get a little bit more strong and in a better place, I started following back some people, and like even people that I was like close to, like in real life, I didn't follow on Instagram because I just like couldn't see all their photos of like them having a happy family kid time, So so that's one thing I would say, like just know when you're like, don't mindlessly scroll through Instagram, especially Facebook, probably too, because you're going to come across something like that might be triggering. That's just how it is in December. It's like baby announcements galore. And then another tip with that is like one thing I've done is I've moved, because I've noticed that I will get on my phone and I will instantly go to Instagram and just like start mindlessly scrolling. So maybe like move your Instagram to a different place where you have to like get there. It's a little harder to get there on your phone. Okay, so we have so many fun people on here, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Larsa says, I've been pregnant or had a newborn so many times at so many Christmas parties, and I think that was hard on you. Yeah, it was, but I feel like we've talked about it enough now. But it says, how can we support you guys during these big family events during the holidays? I was really appreciated when people would first like kind of gauge their mood. Like if, for instance, if you're like, well, I guess I'm saying the opposite way. So I would say it's important to have somebody like that you can be open with and communicate with, whether they're fertile or not fertile. But if they have kids and you're close to them and you think they can be a support to you during the holidays, maybe just like be honest with them and like first ask them if they'll like kind of gauge how you're feeling. And then based off of that, I don't know, everyone's really different, and maybe you guys can give some feedback on this, but for me, I feel like it was nice when people would take time to come and sit and talk to me and not talk to me about anything other than things that they knew were important to me. So things like work, or what I've always been really into fitness, so like what fitness classes I was going to at the time or whatever, and like just spend that time to talk to me about something that had nothing to do with kids. But there were some times where like I was around my nieces and nephews and I loved them so much, and if I was in the right mood, which is so dumb, I know, like you're like so temperamental, at least I was, and still am. But I liked when they would sort of like involve me into their kids as well, like show how important I was to their kids as an aunt, or like even our close friends, like they were really good. We have a couple that we're really close to that have a couple girls, and they would always like just make us feel like we were important in their children's life, even though we weren't like blood related or whatever. Okay, so Zakaya, I'm just checking if that's how I pronounce your name. I don't know. But anyway, she says, how is Ray? Where is she now? Ray is doing so good. She's like right upstairs sleeping. So, let's see here. Oh, okay. Sorry, the chat is freezing a little bit. Okay. Aaron, earlier today I had a lining check and it didn't go well. I'm sorry. My last transfer cycle was canceled due to lining issues. My husband asked the same thing of how he can make me feel better or help. That's nice of him. My husband asked the same thing. Oh, yeah. And yeah, it's totally, I'm so sorry about that, Aaron. I wasn't sure, she says, I wasn't sure how to answer him or what to say, or what he could say to make me feel better. We have another medication we are trying to cycle and not canceling it, so that made me feel better and more hopeful. Yeah, that's good. I feel like so many people are getting their transfers canceled. It's so frustrating. Miss Kardashian, love that name. I've had losses the last 3 years at Christmas time, and now after so far successful transfer, I'm on edge just as much as you're dreading. People asking me questions of how's it going. Oh, yeah. So how can you navigate that? Like when people do ask you those questions, like how's it going? Are these people that know what you're going through? Or yeah, because I was pretty open when we went through our first round. And so if people didn't ask me, I was sort of like, they know that I'm going through this, so why aren't they asking me? I don't know. But then sometimes it did get like a little overwhelming when everyone was asking. Eric has one last thought, you guys. So let's hear what he has to say. One last thought. Miss Kardashian says, social media is super hard. I agree, but I have found an awesome support group on Facebook, so I strictly go to just talk to the group and try not to scroll through anything else. I totally agree with that. There are super awesome Facebook groups for sure. And those really helped. Those still help me with research and like being able to, I don't know, that's how I found the book. It starts with the egg. I found that in one of my groups that I'm a part of, my infertility groups. But I do have a Facebook group. So if you guys want to join that one, it's a little bit smaller, which is really nice. I mean, it's new, so we've got like 60 something people in there. But people are really responsive. So if you're part of that group, thank you. And if you're not, you should join it if you want some support, because people are really awesome in there. And yes, congratulations, Miss Kardashian. You're poopo, right? So one thing I think of when I think about like transfer is you really have to cling to hope, and also that like the positive thought of this can happen to me, instead of I remember thinking so often that I would initially think that this can't happen for me. Like, I'll never be a mom. This just like will never happen to me. It's just too good of a thing to happen, and I don't like deserve it or something. And then I would always catch myself and try to like rephrase how I was saying things, and like, there's no reason why this shouldn't work for me, based off of, like you said, Miss Kardashian, you said that you've had a successful, you've had losses. So that's I'm sure why you're on edge, but I'm sure your transfers seem to go well. So why can't this work for you, right? You have a shot. And I'm praying for you, sending you lots of baby dust. So that's why I never disclosed about my IVF cycle to anyone in my family except my parents and his parents. Yeah. Relatives can get really nasty during get-togethers and make you guilty that you have been married 5 years and it should have happened by now. I know. And you know what? Like, who's to say how many years you should be married or together with your partner before you have a kid? Like, who cares? Like, some people, my sister, I have an older sister. They didn't even start trying until they'd been married, like 9 or 10 years. So what's the timeline? Okay. No timeline. You can do it whenever. Okay, so I had a couple other tips that had come to my mind. And that is, so if you have friends that don't have kids, or if you have friends that would hang out with you, and this is all just depending on if you're like seeing people, because I know the time is weird nowadays, but there are some people that, it's still, in my opinion, okay to hang out with small groups. And I would say just hang out with, like, schedule a time to do something with somebody who doesn't have kids, or, you can have like schedule a date night or something with another couple. Maybe they have kids, maybe they don't, but like somebody who you could hang out with that they're not gonna like, I don't know, talk to you about things that you know what I mean, like talk to you about things that's gonna annoy you, or ask, like, bring it up in a way that's gonna annoy you. Hopefully you guys all have somebody in your life that you can go to, because I do feel like it's so important to have the connection, the human connection, like face to face. Like, Facebook groups are so helpful. They're so helpful, but it is nice to have that face-to-face human connection, somebody who really supports you. I really, really hope that you all have somebody like that in your life. And if you don't, I feel like you should, you probably have someone that you really do trust in your life, and maybe you could reach out to them and kind of explain how they can best, I don't want to say serve you, but communicate with you and support you. So maybe you just need to like train someone on how to support you. But I will say I through social media was able to meet somebody who was going through IVF at the same time as me. And when we did our first round, we were doing the round at the same time. And she ended up emailing me, and because she watched one of my videos, and she's like, hey, I would love to FaceTime with you or jump on a phone call with you sometime and just have someone to talk to. And so we still to this day, like we tried FaceTiming today, but I was kind of busy with work. But we still chat with each other and like all the time. And, we're going to try and FaceTime later this week. But it was just so nice to have somebody who was going through exactly what I was going through at that time. That's just an amazing, amazing support. Okay. So that was the other one. And then I have one more thing. Oh, this is a big one. So do not feel guilty about saying no to holiday gatherings. And in some ways, this year is a good excuse. You didn't want to go to a party. You could be like, oh, we're really taking the social distancing thing serious today. We're not going to see anyone. No, I don't even think you have to like make something up like that if you aren't really, taking social distancing that serious. But like, let's say you get invited to like a more intimate family gathering and you're just not feeling it, like even that day, like I think it's totally okay to just say, you know what, we're not going to be able to make it tonight. We're so sorry, but like we're not going to be able to make it. And that's totally fine. And don't feel guilty about not going to an event, because you have to do what is best for you. And that might be what is best for you at that time. So that's one thing. Just never feel guilty about it, because it has nothing to do with, another person, whatever. It's like, it's all about taking care of yourself and avoiding things that are going to trigger, making you feel, get down, and making it harder. And yeah, I know, like for me, like I said, it was a roller coaster for the most part. So some days I was fine and I could go to holiday parties, I could go to gatherings, and the questions would be maybe annoying, but I could handle them and they weren't like really triggering. But yeah, so anyone else have any? Oh, another thing I wanted to mention was that I felt like this kind of goes back to having some support, because I felt like whenever I don't like vocalize, this is just me, but whenever I don't vocalize how I'm feeling or really process how I'm feeling, then it comes back to bite me in the butt. So if I am really frustrated, stressed out, or, just depressed, just like it's really hitting me hard, then I need to process those feelings. And usually for me, that's talking it out. But sometimes it's just like taking time to take care of myself, do something like self-care, a massage, a bath, like whatever. And so I guess what I'm saying is you need to acknowledge how you're feeling and not try to brush it under the rug, because it does suck. Like, it's not fair. And the holidays just bring up, no matter what you're going through life, the holidays bring up all sorts of like just baggage or unresolved feelings. It can. So I really think it's important to not sweep your feelings under the rug, because it will just come back to bite you. So that's where having the support is really helpful, because instead of just like internalizing it or like saying, oh, it's not a big deal, like I'm making this a big deal, it's like I'm feeling this way, but like I should just stop feeling this way because whatever reason, it's the holidays and I need to be joyful. Like that's not helpful. So just acknowledge how you're feeling and try to help move yourself through those feelings. And they might not go away. They probably won't go away, but you can be at peace with having those feelings, if that makes sense. Definitely not some like mental health coach or like a therapist, whatever. But these are my tips as far as like handling those crummy moments and those rough emotions. I am from Utah. So I'm here in the cold mountain area that is like central North Utah. I'm like 30 minutes from Salt Lake City, like 30 minutes south. So if you are not in the US, you don't know where Utah is, it's like kind of by Vegas. It's like 5 hours north of Vegas, Las Vegas. I guess where I live is 5 hours north of Las Vegas. Do you ever feel like all the emotions just take such a toll on personal relationships? Absolutely. And I mentioned the story before and I kind of talked about it, and I don't know if Larissa's still on here, but when Larissa, so we lived together. And so she lived in the basement apartment and I lived in the top level with Eric, and she had a baby, and she had a baby before I was even ready to have kids, or before I started trying. I started trying right after she had her son. And so I was all about him, like just loved hanging out with him and loved that they lived below us. But then we started trying and we were not having any success. And she, her son was like 3 years old, and I knew she wanted to have more kids. So it just was like totally normal for her to want to get pregnant. He was like 3.5, and so she got pregnant, and she got pregnant probably, I don't know, like right, I don't know, like on her first try. I mean, and I had been trying for, at that point, like 2 years, and we were doing IUIs. And I remember I had a failed IUI, and she knew I had a failed IUI because we lived together, and she knew I was really, really upset that day. And yeah, that's right. And she got pregnant like the same time. And so I remember she really did not know how to tell me she was pregnant. And I just had like of course I was happy because like I get a new niece. But at the same time, I was like, that was supposed to be me. I'm supposed to get pregnant next, And so like that emotion, which is the worst one, which is jealousy, guilt for feeling jealous, or like shame for feeling like I was not being happy enough, or I don't know, so many emotions. Like, and that's the other thing I will say. Yes, the emotions like take such a toll on yourself, but then it definitely travels into personal relationships. And I feel like when she was pregnant with Emma, my niece, it was hard. Like that whole pregnancy, like that time where I could have been like a support to her and, really like grown closer and been super excited for my niece. It was just hard. And I knew it was hard for her too, because she didn't know what to do either. She didn't know how to support me. And it was like, and I also feel like her pregnancy was harder on her in a way emotionally, because she didn't feel like maybe she could be as happy about it because I was struggling so hard. And so anyway, so it took a toll on our relationship. Like, not like this, we didn't fight or anything, but it definitely was different. Things felt different between us, and we weren't as close. And it was really, really sad. It was hard. It's really hard. And I've also experienced other relationships that have just been so strained on my part. And then also when I had a kid, I had a relationship that of a friend who was still going through IVF and stuff, that it strained our relationship too. And I would say the main reason why is we're not communicating with each other, and we're not telling each other how to support. We're not asking for support. We're just assuming that people would like know how to support us, which how is anyone gonna know how to support somebody if they've never been through that, right? So if I would have, but the thing is, I didn't know how to translate how I was feeling and communicate to other people how they could support me at the time. So if I would have just sat down with my sister and been able to like express how I was feeling and how she could support me, then I think things would have been different. So if you can figure out, and this might take some therapy, honestly, I did go through therapy at that time and that helped. And if you can figure out how to communicate with people that you're close to, like those personal relationships that you really care about, that you don't want to be strained, if you can figure out how to like tell them, like, you know, ask for the support that you need, I'm sure it's going to be a much better experience for both of you. So sorry that was long-winded, but that's just my perspective. But I totally feel like all the emotions can take a toll on your personal relationships. How do you respond to unsolicited advice like, hey, just relax? I hate that one so much. The more you relax, the easier it would be to get pregnant. No, that's scientifically never been proven. Like, that's not a thing. Yeah, I hate that one so much. I don't know how to respond to that. Sometimes I want to be snarky and be like, oh, do you want to like buy me a day at the spa so I can go relax? And then maybe that night I'll be able to get knocked up. Like that must be what I need, is just a good day to relax. Or maybe you could pay for a cruise for me to go on vacation, and then maybe I'll be relaxed enough to get pregnant. Because that must be the reason why. I don't know. Sometimes I want to be snarky, but you know, sometimes you can just kind of laugh it off and be like, if only it was that easy, you know. But just realize, like, they don't get it, and they may never get it. But you probably have a support group on Facebook that you can go to and be like, oh my gosh, this person today told me to just relax and it's so annoying. And you can get all sorts of support because everyone knows what that feels like. That's, you know, struggled. They've probably been told that. So you have to just, like, unfortunately, just put on a tough face. That's why people we call ourselves Infertility Warriors, because it's not just that we battle through all the treatments and all that junk. It's that we have to deal with all the ridiculous comments, which again, people don't realize what they're saying is like that really ridiculous. You know, everyone has like a different perspective and like where they're coming from, but it can hurt sometimes and be really annoying. We know that. Love you too, Rissa. If only people knew. I think people are becoming more sensitive. I think they are, because people are being more vocal about infertility and the struggle that it is. But you're still going to get those comments. You will. And I feel like you just have to just understand that you're going to get those comments. You're going to get those dumb questions. Like, to us, they're so dumb. But like, I really think that most people just mean well, or maybe they just don't know what to say. And sometimes when you don't know what to say and you're in a social setting, you say dumb things. I feel like we've all probably been there. If only it was that as yeah, I feel like that's, you know, I don't know. And then sometimes people go into like, oh, my friends, sisters, cousins, dogs, last owner's aunt did this treatment, like, and then, you know, they got pregnant. It's so funny. In my ward, so like I'm LDS and that's my religion anyway. We have like our neighborhoods are basically called wards, and that's where we go to church with a ward, like a group of fellow LDS members. Anyway, long explanation, but so this lady that I go to church with, she came up to my husband and she was like, have you guys, so this was like right after we'd been through IVF and we were kind of waiting to do our frozen embryo transfer. And she came up to Eric and she was like, have you guys heard of IVF? My daughter did IVF and they got pregnant. I just wondered if you'd looked into that, And to us, we're like, duh, like that's what we've been doing. And, and I feel like most people know what IVF is at this point, especially if you have been trying for a while. I don't know. It was just, to us, that was a very dumb comment, but especially Eric, he was just like, oh yeah, we just did that. And, we're hoping for success. And anyway, he's always like really nice about stuff like that. He's so much more patient with people than I am. I'll be like, they'll say something and then I'll get in the car with him and we'll go home and I'll just be like, I can't believe they said that. And, and he's mostly like, honey, like chill, it's fine. Have you looked into acupuncture? Yes, I have looked into acupuncture. There's a section in the book, it starts with the egg, that I read, and there's not a whole ton of research, but it definitely, basically what they conclude, if I remember in the book, they talk about how there's not a lot of research right now backing acupuncture. However, they do think, or the author did talk about how there are benefits to that type of treatment as far as like holistically, and I guess in a more like calming, relaxing kind of way that could in turn help. But there's no like medical backing that she mentions in the book. But she does conclude that it's like, but why not? Why not try that? If you have the means to do it. I looked into it, but I never felt comfortable with any of the acupuncturists in my area. I just didn't feel like no one could give me a good referral. The only referral I got was one in Salt Lake, and I don't know, it just never really worked out. I just finished my first round. I didn't even finish your sentence. I'm so sorry. I just finished my first round of IVF. Now the 2-week wait. Oh my gosh. And I've been trying out acupuncture to try to help my outcome. Okay, so you just did your transfer and you're in the 2-week wait. Jessica, you and Miss Kardashian, you guys are in the same boat, right? If you both had your transfer, your poopo, for those of you who don't know, you probably all know, but poopo is pregnant until proven otherwise. Anyway, so yes, take care of yourself. And if acupuncture helps you, I mean, I really feel like it can't hurt. I mean, maybe it hurts a little because like there's little needles, but I've heard it doesn't actually hurt. But yeah, so I would love to do acupuncture sometime. And yeah, Larissa says our older sister did acupuncture during pregnancy and I really enjoyed the benefits. Yeah, she helped me find somebody in Salt Lake. My older sister was the one that helped me find somebody in Salt Lake to do it, but I don't remember why it didn't work out. But I did look into it and call an acupuncturist in Salt Lake. Did you experience bleeding in the first trimester? I didn't, but I've heard it's very, very common. I know a lot of people who have experienced bleeding the first trimester, especially early on. I'm getting ready to do an egg retrieval, Lee says, and I'm currently doing acupuncture weekly. I highly recommend it. So Lee, what do you like about acupuncture? Like, it kind of scares me because of the needles, but now I'm sort of over that after going through a round of IVF. I'm kind of like, after fertility treatments and all the like blood draws and all that kind of stuff that you go through and like giving yourself shots, I'm kind of over it. And so I would totally love to try out acupuncture. I'm getting ready to do an egg retrieval, and I'm currently, oh yeah, I read that. Acupuncture can also help regulate cycles. Yeah, I've heard that as well, and help with side effects of, okay, I think that's what she says in the book. Like, it's helpful. Like people they did seem to notice a difference. I'm gonna have to read that book again, or that section again. But basically, there was a difference in how people recovered from egg retrieval, I think it was, if they did acupuncture, and the side effects of stims. Ooh. Try to find an acupuncture who specializes in fertility. Yes, that's what I've heard. Yes. They'll know best how to help you, or at least try. This is not something just a normal acupuncturist would have no knowledge about. Okay. Yes, I totally agree with that. I think that's a good idea, because I'm sure they know the protocol, I guess, of what they would, I don't even know, do you call it administer on you? Oh man. So Lee, you'll have to keep us posted on how your egg retrieval goes. I hope your recovery is super chill and not anything too eventful, other than like a really good outcome of lots of little aches. That's cool. Acupuncture regulated my cycle on the first session, and I have high blood pressure and heart rate, and acupuncture is helping with that as well. That's really interesting. That's really cool. So I injected, okay, we're gonna be on for like 2 more minutes. I don't want to take up like the whole night. Thank you guys so much for being here though. I love chatting with you guys. You guys are amazing. Okay, so how long did you inject progesterone? How long did I do PIO? So I did progesterone in oil about 5 days before. It was 5 days before my frozen embryo transfer, and then I did it until 10 weeks pregnant. So what is that, like? Ends up being like 2 months, 2.5 months or something. I don't know. But yeah, you do it for quite a while. Thanks for being here, honey. Honey 15. I just thought it would be fun to chat because we haven't done this in forever, and we just need all the support we can get during the holidays, guys. I hope your holidays go well. I hope that you get to enjoy them. It's a wonderful time of year. I love it. I hope that you guys get to really, I don't know, have some fun and just enjoy what the season's all about. And like Eric said, maybe get out and serve some people, and that will help like brighten your spirit. But also just take care of yourself and don't feel bad about whatever you need to do to get through the holidays. And maybe it can turn around and it won't even be about getting through. Maybe we get to enjoy the holidays. And Lee, are you worried about so you haven't started stims yet? Have you started stims, Lee? And so the recovery of the egg retrieval, I will say that was a little bit harder than I thought. I'm not trying to scare you because everyone's experience is different. I was terrified of the actual egg retrieval that day, the procedure, being put under, and like waking up and being in a lot of pain. But my experience was, it was a very nice nap. I woke up, I was crampy, tired, really tired, but like wasn't bad at all. But I will say, I expected like within a couple days after egg retrieval, I'd be like up and at it. But it did take me like a full week for all the bloating to go down and just like feel normal again. I was really tired. I remember being really tired for a couple days. and just having to rest a lot. Oh, that's cool. That's good to know. So the first recovery for her was a week. So like mine, and the second time was much easier, like 3 days. That's awesome. So just baby yourself, take care of yourself. I always tell people that, like, just totally baby yourself and don't do anything too crazy. And if people are like, how can I help? Or like, how can I support you? Be like, I want you to bring me a milkshake on the day I get my retrieval, or I have my retrieval. I want you to bring me a milkshake. People love being able to do like specific things, you know? So just like, and then I want you to bring me this and that, and, you know, take advantage of people that are wanting to help you out. Because you will be pretty tired after your egg retrieval. But I'm sending you lots of baby dust. Yeah, try to stay home for a couple days and don't plan on working. I think our egg retrieval was on a Sunday morning. You know, just like you can't really schedule that out specifically. You can, kind of can, but it's based on your cycle and like how your the stim part of the cycle goes. So, so yeah, make sure that you don't work. Yeah, so I think I took that whole week off. Okay, last question I'm going to answer. Are you taking CoQ10? No, I'm not, but only reason why is because for an FET, which is what we're going to be doing, a frozen embryo transfer, you don't necessarily need to take CoQ10. I think I'm going to, but like if you're going to do an egg retrieval, it's very highly recommended. So when I did my first egg retrieval, I took CoQ10. My doctor actually recommended it to me. And then when I read it starts with the egg, that's highly recommended before an egg retrieval, as it really supports egg quality. I think it helps with frozen embryo transfers. Like, I think with the transfer side of it, I think they suggest it, but I don't really remember. It wasn't on the list of what I should be taking as we prep for our frozen embryo transfers. So I took it for, honestly, I want to say I only took it for like 2 months, and I think you're supposed to take it for 3. No, hold on. That's not true. I took it for like 2 months before my IUI, before we started IUIs, and then I took it again. I think I was taking it for a while by the time I did IVF. Or maybe I stopped and then I started taking it again. But I think, yeah. So during my IUIs, or my IUI, I just did one. I took it for like 2 months before my IUI. That didn't work. And then I took it for, I want to say like 6 weeks, honestly, before my IVF cycle. Because we started IVF a little quicker than I expected. So yeah, I think I only took it for like 6 weeks before IVF. Because I think I started taking it in beginning of January, and we did my egg retrieval in the middle of February. So yeah, like 6 weeks. But I had taken it before, but I'd stopped before we did IVF. Anyway, sorry, that's long-winded. Okay, if you guys want to chat more about all that we chatted about tonight, then you can go to my Facebook group. It's Infertile and I Know It. I'll link it in the description box so you guys can check it out. Let me see here. I'm going to link that right now before I forget. Oopsies. It's facebook.com/groups/infertile and I know. Guys, I also have an Instagram page I started called Infertile and I Know It, but I don't really post to it lately because I've been so busy with work, but I do want to create some more posts because those are fun because it's a little bit snarky, and it's like if people tell you, I don't know, if people say annoying things to you about fertility or like your status and stuff, then you can follow that Instagram account, because I'll put it up here because it's a little snarky and it will help you feel better. I think that's why I started it. So the Facebook group is more like for support with like talking one-on-one to other people that are going through what you're going through. And the Instagram page is more about being snarky. So it's like memes and quotes and stuff. Anyway, thanks again, you guys, so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Good luck to everyone who is going to be going through some sort of fertility treatment this month, whether it's IVF or IUIs, or, you know, you're just trying naturally, another month of that. Then I'm sending you all the luck, all of the baby dust, and all of the prayers. I really do pray for everyone that is still, you know, like stuck in the thick of, you know, doing egg retrievals and all that kind of stuff, because it's so rough, especially during Christmas time. Transfer on the 17th. Yes, Michelle, I'll be praying. I'll be thinking about you that day. So I love being updated. So DM me on Instagram if you have any questions. And